Hi guys, for dinner tonight I'm making pork adobo, which is a family favorite. Adobo is a popular Filipino dish that involves meat marinated in vinegar, soy sauce, garlic, bay leaves, and black pepper. It's browned and then simmers in the marinade until tender. This is a simple dish that is loaded with flavor. For me tonight I'll be using pork, which is like a country style pork, but chicken is also really good in here. You could do seafood. I don't eat seafood, so I can't vouch on how well that does, but I read you can use seafood. And then also for a vegetarian style, you could do mushrooms. So to begin, we are going to brown the meat first. I've got my pot. You'll want to use a pot already preheating, and what we'll do is we'll probably have to do this in a couple of batches. You don't want to overcrowd the pan because there's going to, as you can see, there's some fat on this meat, and so what's going to happen, it's going to start rendering, and if you put everything in at once, it will then start to boil, and we don't want that yet. I'm just going to do enough to cover the bottom of the pan. That's what I'll do as far as batches go. There is no salt and pepper on this. We're going to season it a little later. This recipe is heavy in soy sauce, so I really wouldn't recommend adding more salt. But if you want more salt, go ahead, but I wouldn't recommend it. It'll be too salty then. And then I do have some garlic powder and black pepper in here, and then my bay leaves and some garlic. So I think this is good, so we're just going to go ahead. Add in the first batch. I'm going to go ahead and add in my garlic powder and black pepper. Garlic. And I'm going to give that a stir, and I'll let that cook for like about a minute. Now we are going to add, this is our soy sauce vinegar mixture. And I'm going to give that about a minute to kind of start boiling. And then we're going to add water. Now, how much water you add is going to depend on you. Growing up, my mom would make it a little bit more brothy, but my dad would make it a little bit more, he would let the broth kind of boil down, and he still makes it like that, which is my preferred way, and so that's what I'm going to do. But to start, I'm going to probably add enough water just to barely cover the meat, and then we're going to crank up the heat. We want this to simmer. The longer it simmers, the better the flavor. So this is definitely one of those dishes that if you have leftovers and you go to reheat it, you know, if you have the time, reheat it on the stovetop. I think it really it just soaks in the flavor, the meat does. It's a little bit better. But if not, the microwave's fine too. But this is one of those dishes that just gets better every time you eat it and reheat it. So I'm gonna go grab some water and fill the pot. So for me, it only took one of these completely filled up, and that's good for me. Obviously, the more water you add, it's gonna be more diluted in flavor. So if you want it more salty, you'll wanna cook it down some. The last thing I'm going to add is bay leaf. And I have like, what, 3 small pieces. So we're going to put that in. We're going to bring this up to a boil. And once it's rolling, I'm going to put the lid on, drop the heat down to about a medium-low, let this simmer pretty much till it's close to being done. Actually, what I like to do is once I put the lid on and it's just simmering, I'll go ahead and make my rice. And pretty much by the time when the rice is done cooking, this will be done. And then it will be just a matter of boiling this down to the broth level that you want. This is a great recipe for, it's versatile. You want more soy sauce flavor, add more soy sauce. You want it more vinegary, add more vinegar. More garlicky, add more garlic. So it's really just up to you. So this has been simmering on a lower simmer with the lid on for about 45 minutes, and now I've got it on a higher boil so I can reduce the broth.
I'm already digging in because A, I know it's going to be delicious. It's the best adobo I've ever had and the only adobo I've ever had. And B, because I'm starving.
We already sampled the meat. It's tender. The broth flavors, everything is good. But now I'm just going to boil this down a little bit. I let it boil on high for another like 10 minutes, and I turned off the heat, so it's just kind of calming down. But that's where my liquid level is, my broth level. Sophie already devoured hers. And here's a look at mine. And I am sure it's going to be delicious. I'm serving it over rice, and I just added a little broth over the rice and a big heaping mound of meat. You could probably want to do a side of veggies if you want to try to balance the unhealthiness of this dish. This is a high in sodium dish, high in fat, so this is definitely a cheat night meal if you are on a diet. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.